Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody. My name is Jesse with ROI Safety Services. I am going to be going over a PowerPoint presentation that will cover who we are, who ROI is, and the second part is who is OSHA and what are they here for? So ROI Safety Services, this is our mission statement: people first, safety training with 0, 0, 0 injuries. That's what we stand for. That's who we are. That's who ROI is. ROI, of course, is return on investment. That's how we look at safety in the workplace. It is a added value to the working environment. Okay, that's what we take a stand for that, and that's what we do. Now, this weekly live safety training is going to be every week, 10 a.m. It's going to be no cost at all. A new topic every week. I would love to get feedback from those of you attending this morning's live session. I'd be happy to respond afterwards to when we're done with the initial PowerPoint. I'd be happy to take some feedback then and afterwards, of course. And then, of course, let people know we'll be doing it every Friday. It's live. It's going to be an OSHA topic, and it'll probably be 30 minutes, maybe less some days, maybe more, depending on the topic. So who's ROI? We are a full service compliance, safety and compliance consulting firm. I have been doing this for 30 years. My staff, between 10 and 20 years, depending on what individual we're talking about. We are focused on general industry and construction. The primary areas we focus on are aerospace, refineries, construction, bio, food, fueling. So we pretty much don't have an industry that we really don't serve in terms of what we're capable of. I guess if there was an industry that I haven't done any work with, would be the mining industry, and that's intentional. I do not have any intentions of working with the mine folks at all. So what is OSHA? Who are they? They're the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, responsible for worker safety and health protection, which is kind of ironic. You would think we would be responsible for our safety, which we are. OSHA's there to lend a helping hand, so to speak. So I want to you guys who are attending live, and those of you who will be watching this in the future, OSHA serves a purpose. They do. But ultimately, we as human beings are responsible for our own safety. You're going to hear this from ROI every time we do training, because we are a firm believer that if you're not responsible for yourself, who is going to be? Who is going to be? Nobody is going to put on safety glasses for you. Nobody's going to keep you safe. You are responsible for that. And if you're in a position, where you are in an unsafe environment, you must get out. Okay, you must get out of there. This is something that we individually need to be responsible for. These are the cold hard facts. This is, every time I see this number, it's almost hard to believe. It's like seeing how many people were in the World Trade Center and how many people died. How many people have died from Hiroshima? Those numbers are just staggering. And it's amazing that it actually occurred. So nearly 6,000 people die every year in the workplace. It's unbelievable. And 100% preventable. 50,000 deaths from workplace-related illnesses since OSHA's been around. They have definitely made an impact on that. 5.7 million non-fatal workplace injuries. And I believe it's more than that, because there's so many that go unreported. And injuries alone cost the U.S. over $125 billion. And again, I think these numbers, let's say they are within 10 to 20%. They're just staggering. It's amazing. It's amazing, these types of numbers that we're seeing here. So has OSHA helped? Yes, absolutely they have. Are they still needed? Yes, absolutely. They still need to be in the workplace. Nearly every month, I get the call from a company that I would assume had an injury and illness prevention program, some kind of safety manual, some kind of training in their workplace. And these are big companies. These aren't just, Joe's machine shop down the street. These are big companies, 40, 50, 60 employees, and they don't even have a safety manual. They don't even know what a safety manual is for. And this happens often. So yes, they still need to be here. Now, have they helped cut the work-related fatality rate? They have. That's what they're saying, right? I got this PowerPoint from OSHA, and they have cut down fatalities. Of course, that they've done a lot of good. And sorry about that. Work with employers and employees to reduce workplace injuries and illness. They do definitely make an impact, and virtually eliminated brown lung disease. And they really have, because I don't know anybody who has that. Maybe their next brown lung, if you want to call it brown lung, is silica. Silica is on their hit list right now. So if any of you guys are in the silica industry, they are targeting this industry. And come to find out yesterday, they are now targeting hotels and places like that. I got a call from a new customer. This is how I don't like to get. Let me be clear on this. This is how I don't like to get new customers after an OSHA inspection. And I probably get about 1 or 2 a month, and it's not the best way to go into a new relationship with a customer. So I definitely prefer you guys to be proactive, be responsible, and get these safety training programs in place, and follow the OSHA guidelines, and do everything that's required. And if you stay tuned to our weekly program, you're going to get a lot of it. You're going to get, what I need to do, how I do it, and how to keep myself in a position where if OSHA came in today, I would be okay. The client that I had yesterday had some pretty significant issues. They didn't have an injury and illness prevention program, or they had one, but they haven't looked at it in many years. And those of you out of California, an IIPP is required in the state of California. In Nevada, you need something similar. I believe New Jersey, maybe even New York, you need something similar to that. It's a documented program that you need. They've also reduced trenching and excavation fatalities by 35%. Okay, so what does OSHA do? And this is what I want you guys to really take into consideration. This is what OSHA does. They encourage employers and employees to reduce workplace hazards and implement new or improve existing safety programs. Develop and enforces mandatory job safety and health standards. That's what they really do. They enforce mandatory job requirements. They are a resource. They will help you. But, and the big but is, do I really want OSHA coming into my workplace telling me what I need to do? No, we don't want that. They maintain and report record keeping for injuries and that sort of thing. Provides assistance. This is what we don't want them to do: training and other support programs, and help employers and workers. So they will help you. I don't know of any, and again, this is anecdotal. I don't know of any individual companies who walked out of an OSHA invitation and didn't have any additional issues that came up. Some of them not such a big deal. Some of them caused engineering controls, which was pretty significant. So we want to clean house internally. Okay, we don't want to rely on a third-party government agency to do this for us, guys. We don't want to do that. We need to be responsible as business owners, as human beings in the country of the USA, to not. We don't need to bring government in to make sure we're following compliance that they wrote. Okay, we can figure that out on our own. I encourage each of you to do that. So what does OSHA do? I'm sorry, most private sectors, okay, this is what they're covering. Most private sectors, they can go into most private sectors. Coverage is provided directly by federal OSHA or a state-approved OSHA. So if you're in California, if you're in, I believe Nevada has their own. I know Arizona does not. New Jersey, Florida, not so sure about Florida, and other of the bigger states. You got to look at whatever state you're in to see if they have their own OSHA. I think Tennessee does. I think it's actually called TOSHA. And you need to find out if they deviate from the feds. They can't be less. So we're at whatever OSHA standard or whatever state you're in, you must comply with the most stringent standard. Okay. So in California, it's Cal OSHA. In Tennessee, it's Tennessee OSHA, and whatever other state you may be in. I think even Oregon might have one, I'm not sure. But each state will have their own website, landing page, and they'll have some resources in there. Those resources are good. It's good to look at those resources, see what they offer you, but actually calling them up and inviting them into your business, I'm not so sure I would do that. So just be careful about that. I would suggest that you try to do an internal audit. You know, each of your locations or states should have an inspection list or checklist that you can get from the website. You can always contact ROI. I'd be happy to give you one. You could actually even call us to come in and do what we call a gap analysis. So OSHA standards, this is what we need to comply with. Now, this is where ROI, this is where we come in as consultants and as trainers, is we help identify what you as a business needs to follow. And it's a gray area. It could be very, very complicated. So we have, 30 plus years experience in managing, what applies, what doesn't apply. So OSHA develops and enforces that employees must follow. So they're developing it. Where OSHA does not have a standard, employers are responsible for following the general duty clause. And throughout my career, I have heard this thrown around all over the place. Many examples have been given during the years of training I've been, during the teachers and various inspectors. They pretty much can use the general duty clause if they see something that they perceive as unsafe. And that's what they've been doing. So the states with OSHA approved programs must set standards at least as effective as the federal. So I believe, again, California, Tennessee, maybe even Texas may have, you just got to see whatever state you're in, find out if they have their own OSHA. Now, what does OSHA require? So they determine which standards apply to your workplace and follow the OSHA standard and the requirements. Okay, but we need to know what applies to us. Employers of 11 or more employees must maintain records of occupational injuries and illness. And again, check with your local state, see if that differs. And then all employers must display the OSHA poster and report to OSHA within 8 hours of any accident that results in a fatality or inpatient hospitalization of 3 or more employees. But again, check your local requirements, because I know California is a little different here. So make sure you understand if you have an injury, a fatality, a hospital stay, anything significant, it doesn't hurt to call OSHA if you're not sure. And this is one area I wouldn't take any chances on, especially if it's a fatality, you must call them. If it's an inpatient situation, there's a lot of gray area, so just be careful with that one. I've been called many times after the fact and they never called OSHA, and that can get you in some big trouble. Record keeping is important. So anytime you have an injury, a lost time injury, that means they go to the clinic because they got hurt on the job and the doctor says, no, you can't go back to work till next week. Or, yeah, you have restricted duty, you can't do your same function, you got to do something else. And that is a record keeping injury. Okay, so we need to put that on our OSHA 300 log. I'm going to show you a sample of that. And a summary of records for the previous year must be posted from February through April. Now, what if you're not doing it now and you have had injuries in 2022 and beyond? Contact your insurance carrier and they should be able to give you a loss run report. Should. I don't know if they can or not. I hope you have insurance for that. If not, I'm not really sure what to do if you don't have workers' comp insurance. You should probably get that. Some companies, it might be news to them, I don't know, but we need to have workers' comp insurance, and if we have an injury, that's what will cover that loss. This is the OSHA 300 log. Again, this is something you can get on their website. They have a spreadsheet that looks just like this, but on a spreadsheet, you can just fill it out and fill out the boxes. It's very simple. And this needs to get done soon. So get that loss run report and fill it out. Now, the client that I just spoke about earlier that called us yesterday that had an inspection, they did not have this. They did not have a current safety manual, or they didn't even have safety data sheets available. And I can tell you right now, they're going to get fines by default by not having it to give to the inspector. It's not going to be significant. It's going to be a few $100. But here's the issue. Once they give you that request for documents, you have so many days to get all of these procedures and loss run reports and proof of insurance. You must get that to them within 3 days, sometimes even less. Who are you going to call to get that done for you if you don't have it already? You're going to call someone like me, and we're going to charge you a premium because I need to stop what I'm doing and get it done for you. So that's what I'm going to be doing today, is getting this done for them. Why not take care of it now? Get this injury and illness prevention program up and running now. Get your safety training manual up and running now. Get all the training you need to get done now. And then don't worry about calling a consultant like me who's going to charge you a premium to get it done in less than 3 days. Literally, I believe they got to get everything by Monday. And so that doesn't leave us with much time. So preventative measures are appropriate right now. So what are workers responsible for? Getting that poster up, follow the employer's safety and health rules, and comply with everything that is within that poster and cite specific requirements. And this is where I want to emphasize. If you have the risk of an injury at your location, you must have a job hazard analysis or some kind of assessment of your place to ensure that you're protecting your employees. Now, this is not assumed, guys. You can't assume that they know, okay? You cannot do that. Common sense does not exist, guys. I'm sorry to tell you. I wish it did, but it doesn't. So we need to make sure that we do a site assessment or a job hazard analysis or a gap analysis, whatever you want to call it. It's got to get done at every site. If you have 5 sites, you need to do 5 different gap analysis or JHAs, whatever you guys want to call it. It needs to get done. You need to get an evaluation of every location you own, you work in. And if you have temps, I encourage you, it should be a priority for you. Everybody's using temps. Do temps get hurt? Exponentially more than regular employees. So make sure you're covering all the bases by doing a job hazard analysis, ensuring that you're meeting all the OSHA standards, and you're training your folks, training each individual, getting a signature of each individual that they understand the training requirements at your location and that they will comply with them. Because if somebody gets hurt and they didn't have training, you will be getting a call from an attorney. And guess what they want to do? They're gonna send you a letter, and that letter is going to request documents that you may or may not have. And depending on the outcome of that request, will determine how much they sue you for. Okay? Forget about OSHA. You're going to have an attorney sue you for, I don't know if there are any limitations on what they can sue you for. I'm sure there is, but they're going to go for the maximum. And more than likely, you'll end up settling. And we don't want any of that. Guys, we don't want any of that. Okay? Be responsible for your business. Take the steps to get into compliance and protect your people. People first. People matter. Okay? Protect your employees, protect your business, protect your assets. Okay? We need to make sure that we're following these guidelines. It's very simple. It takes effort. It takes some additional work and maybe even hiring a consultant. It depends on what kind of resources you need. Identify and correct these problems immediately. You must fix them. You must fix them. or you're going to get a complaint. You're going to get a complaint from an employee. Most of our employee complaints these days are probably not dealt with by OSHA directly unless it's a significant one. So a common complaint could be, oh, I got fired. I'm gonna show them. They call OSHA up and they say, hey, this is an unsafe workplace. They don't do forklift training for us. And OSHA will send you a letter. They may come in, they can do an inspection, but more than likely you're going to get a letter sent to you first, or a visit. It just depends. And you got to respond within a timely manner. So that's the most common complaint. Okay. All right. That concludes our first training session. I would be happy to answer any questions that any of you may have. If you have a question, please raise your hand and I will take that question and do my very best to answer you. Raise your hand if you have any questions. All right, I don't see any hands up, so I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. I hope you have a blessed day, and I will see you next Friday. Next Friday, we will be doing OSHA programs and how they fit into the workplace and how to manage a safe program. And then we'll be doing how to handle an OSHA inspection, how to get ready for it. So lots of fun stuff. And then after that, we'll be getting into the more detailed programs and lockout, tagout, HAZCOM, HAZWOPER. We'll even cover some big ones, forklift training. And so we'll manage all of those different types of training over the next quarter and see what kind of feedback we get.